Good evening, fellow patrons. Today's video, we are testing the recently buffed Model L, taking it to Citadel Day More and doing a health cap test on it. First, I will go over the build that I am running. So I have the thermal, the 2 times, get that 50% recoil bump. On this particular build, I did the compensator, but I would probably recommend doing the ported compensator to get the first shot recoil reduction. And then Ranger foregrip. Mobility is my most important thing in zombies. Extended mag 2, CBQ grip, light stock, FMJ to get the penetration damage through multiple zombies. Buff, it takes into play the CHF barrel. The critical multiplier is increased from 1.5 to 1.55. Not that big of a difference, but it is a damage boost. And then the vertical recoil is reduced from 45% to 40%. So that's pretty good. Ported compensator, the vertical recoil reduction is from 25 to 30%. So that is a significant bump in terms of recoil. And then the first shot recoil, like I mentioned earlier, the first shot doesn't have as high of a recoil as the other shots in the burst. So that goes from 40% to 45%. And then the CBQ grip, I think mobility in zombies is the most important thing. I'd rather be mobile and fluid in my movements than have a powerful gun. I think sliding is one of the ways that most people maneuver past zombies. So I always use a CBQ grip. You get an additional 5%. It goes from 50% to 55%. And then I don't really care about the diving. My dive is actually disabled because I hated just dolphin diving on accident. So I'm not really worried about the buff to the dive to fire speed. Overall, the gun held up pretty well throughout the 30s. I did see a significant drop off at round 40. I tried to include gameplay through the match to show you guys how well the gun performed at various points in the match. 30s, it didn't have any issue really. But once I hit 40, I definitely did see a drop off, and it was definitely a struggle to complete rounds in an efficient manner. Was definitely slowing down when I hit 40 for sure. One thing that is brutal about this gun is the extended clip 2, which is the biggest magazine that is offered in the game, is only 100 rounds pack punch. So I decided to pop a stock option to really see how effective it can be when ammo is really not an issue. And it was still struggling. I know it's 45, but I've definitely had other guns that do a lot better in terms of eliminating zombies in a timely manner than this gun. I also think that this gun does struggle with armor. The armor penetration isn't abysmal like the compact struggles heavily with armor penetration, but the recent guns that I've tested, the Maelstrom, the Olympia, Grakovas, the Striders, they're all very elite in terms of taking armor off zombies, especially boss zombies like the Guardian in this map. I know those are very powerful guns, but considering that this has such a high critical, I thought the damage to armor or armor mitigation would be greater or more noticeable. Now we get into the fun stuff. So when I go into a boss fight, I make sure I have 2 charges of Ether Shroud, especially in this boss fight, because I want to inflict as much damage on him as possible and try to break his armor, especially on his back. And this is where I really noticed the armor penetration, or the lack thereof armor penetration. Like I said, the Grakovas, the Maelstrom, the Striders, they would all have cracked his back by now. And he's only getting criticals, or I'm only knocking off his shoulder plates off those first 2 charges. Also, the magazine, like I mentioned before, 100 bullets is not a lot. You really can't inflict as much damage without having to reload, and that's why I brought in a free fire for this. I use it later in the match. It is hitting pretty high criticals. I mean, you're getting a 1700 there. That's pretty good, but it just seemed like I couldn't get as much armor off him as I would have liked, or I have in the past with the Maelstrom, the Grakovas. I know that I didn't take the Striders here, but I probably could with 3-round burst. Those guns are incredible. But yeah, I wasn't too impressed with this gun probably won't ever use it again. Some people really like it, I get it. I just personally would rather use the Krig if I'm using an assault rifle or the Cypher. I think the Krig is overall the best assault rifle in the game. I think it's the best gun in the game due to its mobility, how smooth it fires, the fire rate's decent, critical's decent, and the armor penetration is a lot better than this gun, or so it seems, in my opinion. So yeah, I skipped through the immune phases just to keep the focus on inflicting damage to the Guardian and not really running around using my sword in between his stages. So hopefully that is better for y'all because you just want to see how this gun performs on the Guardian, not necessarily regular zombies, because we've seen that earlier in the video. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. I will be doing a similar video with the buffed AK. The results of that, I believe that gun is better than the Model L. The buff is pretty good on the AK, so stay tuned for that video. Thanks guys.